Alright, so today we'll be covering Niccolo Machiavelli's political philosophy. Biography. So Machiavelli was born in 1469 in Florence, Italy, and he had an extensive humanist education. And this education is interesting because humanism is based in the arts and Machiavelli's philosophy doesn't apply to humanism's principles. It's about political science. So Florence had been a republic ever since the Medici had been banished, but the Medici overthrew the sitting government. As a result of this, Machiavelli lost his connections and patronage and was exiled and tortured for aiding the republic, and this torture was an indirect cause of his death in 1527. But Machiavelli did return to favor after many years, and upon entering retirement, wrote some of his most famous novels, including the Discourses on Livy. So, background information. So, even though Italy was fragmented, it was still a major old world center for trade and luxury items, especially places like Florence and Venice. And seeing all the different forms of government in Italy may have influenced Machiavelli, as each city-state had almost a different form of government, such as a republic, a dictatorship, they were ruled by a king, a prince. So, Machiavelli's philosophy. Machiavelli is famous to have said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." So basically, in Machiavellism, everything is a means to an end, or the end justifies the means. So Machiavelli spent extensive time with the Borgias, which is one of the most infamous families in history. They were extremely corrupt and resorted to murder and fraud to hold wealth and the power of the Vatican. They were basically a dictatorship retaining power through fear. This led Machiavelli to establish his thought that when ruling, fear is better than love, because fear lasts forever and love can fade. Which basically means if the people fear you, they'll fear you forever, but if they love you, they will only love you for a certain amount of time. And seeing how much conflict there was in Italy over power, Machiavelli probably reasoned that acting in a way that gets you power is the best, no matter what a person's personal moral standards and dilemmas were. So basically, a ruler must act in whatever way gives him power, despite any personal or religious beliefs, morals, or convictions. His philosophy is controversial and contradictory, and contradicts itself in a few ways, but a significant one is when Machiavelli states that a ruler must be flexible and willing to change, but can never alter his ways or beliefs. And it's very apparent that this is contradictory because how can someone be flexible and willing to change if, according to Machiavelli, they are not allowed to alter their ways or beliefs? His philosophy is controversial because there has been an ongoing debate about whether or not Machiavelli's philosophy is even applicable or in any way real, which will be discussed later in Modern Effects. So, influences on Machiavelli. His personal political experiences was definitely one of them. He held a series of minor political positions in Florence when it was still a republic, and then when he was exiled, that was when he spent time with the Borgias, and he was Cesare Borgia's political advisor. And Cesare Borgia was the illegitimate son of Alexander Borgia, the Pope of Rome. And this most likely influenced Machiavelli's ideas on legitimate and illegitimate uses of power. So, the political atmosphere of Italy, that would have influenced anyone living in Italy at the time. It was very fragmented, as discussed before. So, the impact of philosophy. It was initially viewed with shock because it disrupted the traditional order of dynastic rule or family lineage in ruling, saying a prince is able to rule because their father was king. Machiavelli did not believe that. He thought that the power should be with the people that are able to rule. And there is still controversy over what Machiavelli intended, such as in The Prince, where he states his philosophy for the first time. It is unsure still whether or not he was intending it to be a guidebook or a satirical way to show the discrepancies in rule at the time. But either way, it continues to influence decision-making and analysis of philosophies in government. So, modern effects. It influenced later philosophies such as Rousseau and his utopian ideas. It provides groundwork for different kinds of government and rule. Machiavellism can be applied to almost any type of government, such as dictatorship, democracy, especially republics, because Machiavelli was very supportive of republics, seeing as some of the most beneficial times of his life were when he was part of a republic. And it offers another point of view. So basically, Machiavelli's philosophy doesn't apply to politics as we know it in the modern world. Instead, it provides a different view. It shows what politics would be like in the world such as the one Machiavelli lived in. In the modern era, we don't live in situations such as Machiavelli. Therefore, his philosophy shouldn't be used in governing. It should instead be used as a guide of what not to do, providing examples of what a good ruler should never do. It most likely isn't what Machiavelli had in mind for his philosophy, but either way, Machiavellism is still important in modern times. So, in conclusion, Machiavellism is impactful in the way it makes you think, not in the way it makes you act. And these are my sources. Thank you.